Hey guys, Thunder E here and welcome to the Black Test. Welcome to my camera comparison where I compare the Galaxy S25 Ultra against the iPhone 16 Pro Max to see how it does with skin tones, especially mine compared to the environment, other people. Down there, I've got Danny Winget, Nick Gray, who'll be helping me out in this video. Should be fun. Taking some location photos with people. But right now I am shooting with the ultra wide camera of the Galaxy S25 Ultra. So let's start with some video first before we get into photos. Now let's take a look at the front facing camera for both 4K 60. It's quite interesting, and also walking through different paths. You can see what it actually does. I don't think Samsung made any major changes to that. And again, with the background sound, both of them have some various levels of audio erasing. Try and take that out and see how it does to some of this harsh lighting that we have around. But you get the idea. Okay, let's kick things off with this shot during golden hour. iPhone's on the right, Galaxy's on the left. The Galaxy keeps the colors more accurate. iPhone's taking a lot of that orange, and my skin tone is pretty solid. This is a 1x shot. And then moving over to the next shot, this is a 2x. You can see the iPhone is still taking a lot of that orange. It's still a good shot from both, but the Galaxy keeps more balance to my skin tone overall, and also kind of shows more of the whiteness of the shirt in general compared to the iPhone itself. And then our very next image here, this is at 5x. Both look good, although the iPhone looks a little bit more sharpened around my beard. Skin tone is better on the Galaxy, but I still think both images are pretty usable and very good, especially in this kind of conditions with the lighting. Now, when it comes to Danny Winget here, you can see both go on two extremes. Danny is very orange on the iPhone. The Galaxy kind of balances out a bit better. I like the Galaxy image here, although the iPhone kind of looks closer to the pants, but his image is better on the Galaxy, at least his representation. And then we get into the closer shot here, 2x. Again, the iPhone looks like it's trying to balance it out more. The Galaxy is a bit more reddish in the color tone, but I kind of like the Galaxy better over the iPhone. But I think still both images here are quite usable compared to the first one, which was pretty much just all orangey. Now, this is an interesting one because this is both of us here in the shot, and the Galaxy does a really good job at balancing it in both of us really well. You can see he's darkened the environment, made us the focus, and we look super cool compared to the iPhone where he's more orangey, and I look better, but he looks worse than the iPhone, so I'd take the Galaxy's image. Now here, basically better lighting. I'm here with JV Tech T, and the Galaxy image seems more balanced, less of the redness, and also I look more skin tone appropriate compared to the iPhone. But again, two solid images. The iPhone, I say the Galaxy is what I'm leaning more into. Now here's another shot here where the iPhone does a much better job, but I feel like Josh's skin tone is better on the Galaxy. My skin tone is better on the Galaxy, more segmentation of the coloration for my skin. The iPhone still does a good job here, but this is more nitpicky in this shot here overall. This is at 5x for the shot. Now, when we move over to this is the front-facing camera. The Galaxy just looks much better because you can see Danny has some color to his skin. Mine also has some more segmentation. The iPhone has more of a solid color to me, so more chocolate, while the Danny looks flat on the iPhone. So the Galaxy takes this. I think this is a much better one for the Galaxy. Now here's some 1x shots for me. I think both images look good. The Galaxy does tend to add more contrast, but you can see there's a little bit more separation there and just skin tone. But I think, again, in average, they both look pretty good. So moving over to this telephoto image here, this is one where you can see the iPhone. It really darkens my skin. It's got more chocolate uniformity, less skin pigmentation differentiation. The Galaxy feels much better in balance, but my hand's a little lighter on the Galaxy, while the iPhone does a better job on my hand. So I'll take the Galaxy image, but the iPhone still kind of does some of that. We move locations to Chinatown. It's an outdoor shot. The Chinatown in San Francisco is one of the oldest, pretty great place. You can see more of the red popping on the iPhone, while the Galaxy is a bit flat and muted, which is kind of a reverse what they used to do. But when you look at this shot here, this is a shot where they both look good. I'm looking a little bit lighter on the iPhone, but I like both images, while the Galaxy adds this more moody tone to it. But again, both images are pretty good in sunlight. Here I've got my buddy Nick Gray, and you can see the iPhone is adding a little bit more redness to his skin tone. Everything else kind of matches in terms of what his outfit, clothing wise. Danny's in the background, but his face, I think he looks better on the Galaxy itself. But again, both images all good. Here's another shot here in a different position, lower angle. Looks pretty good overall. The Galaxy is balancing some of the shadows, while the iPhone is keeping some of the shadows in there. So that's an interesting one to see. Now this here, I think both images look pretty good. The Galaxy does a much better job, I think, on my face. You can see how it feels like the sun is hitting, and there's some pigmentation difference across, while the iPhone's a little bit more uniform, but honestly, both images feel pretty good. This is one where I think both do a good job. The Galaxy has more details on my face. You can also see how the light lands, while the iPhone still keeps to that uniformity that's used to. But in terms of using the images, I'll say both are still good. Now, this is a shot of Nick. You can see the iPhone is bringing more redness to his face, while the Galaxy is a bit more flat. I think the Galaxy image is better, although it kind of shines a bit more because of that sharpening. But still, daytime, it depends on preference. I think both images are good. Now, this is a close-up picture of Nick here, and this one's a bit more difficult. I asked Nick when I showed him, he liked the iPhone image. I think both images are good. I think the iPhone looks like a little bit more detail and a little bit more of his color balance, but overall, I think both images are good. Just more light kind of shines on Nick's head with the Galaxy. Now here, I think both are good for Danny. I honestly think that he kind of matches pretty well on both images, kind of looking up, giving us a pose here. But overall, this is where both actually do a really good job on just image balance altogether. Now, this is an interesting one here, trying to put both of us together to see how the cameras handle different complexion. And I think they both look good here. The Galaxy tends to look a little bit more uniform than the iPhone, but I think they're pretty much similar. And I think Nick looks slightly better on the Galaxy than on the iPhone. Now, here's another shot of us here. And I'll say it's kind of split in between. I like the way I look on the iPhone, and I think Nick looks slightly better on the Galaxy, which I wish you could swap them in or combine. Although, I think the images are still quite usable and okay. Now, here's another shot here of some of the scenery in San Francisco. This is Little Italy. The building looks absolutely fantastic. Color representation is actually solid for both. Shadow details are also pretty good. So just some nice environmental shots showing you what these devices can do. And also here in this alleyway as well, you can see the iPhone has kind of lightened up the side wall there that says books, while the Galaxy gives a much more balanced representation. So I like the Galaxy image, but honestly, they are kind of the same. Same thing with this, with the cocktails here. I think they both look good. The Galaxy feels a little bit sharpened, but the brick walls at the back of the Galaxy have more color to them, while the iPhone feels a bit flat there towards the backside of the street. Now, this is another straight building shot here in San Francisco. I think details for both are really solid. The color representation is shockingly almost very similar for both images, and it looks the same. So I really think that here it's quite a good balance. The sky may be a little bit more detailed on the iPhone, and then looking at this here, the iPhone looks like a slightly darker image, especially when you look at the shadow on the street compared to the Galaxy. The brown building has more detail on the iPhone than on the Galaxy, but then it's here picking here or there. Same thing with this image here at the Fisherman's Wharf. The sign has a little bit more color to it on the iPhone compared to the Galaxy, but it's still pretty solid overall image. And here's another one that gives you some more detail, like just going down the street looking at the Ferris wheel. I think you can see a bit more detail on that Ferris wheel on the iPhone, as in just overall look compared to the Galaxy, but they are pretty much the same. Now, Nick is having a cappuccino, and here you can see there's more color vibrancy on the iPhone. I think the Galaxy feels more closer to his skin color and just color representation, but I think both images are good. The iPhone kind of pops more. Again, Samsung feels a little bit much more flatter. Here's another shot as well with Nick, and you have the same thing where the iPhone feels like there's more color, the Galaxy seems a bit flatter. But overall, I think both pictures are good. I would say favorably, I'll pick the iPhone because the iPhone just looks like it captures more of who Nick really is. Now, this is a very interesting shot. This is at Fisherman's Wharf, and this is sort of a little bit backlit because the sun is towards the left. The Galaxy image is giving a lot of mood, but you can see I'm much darker overall. You can't really see me as well. And then when we look at the iPhone, of course, is better lit overall, but you can actually adjust this in the Galaxy, which I'll show later. But when we zoom into the image, you can see again, the iPhone image is much brighter and well lit. Although the Galaxy image looks really solid, it's darker, so you really can't see me as much, but there's still a lot of detail in that image. Now, when we move over to this indoor shots here with my buddy Brandon, you can see that both images are pretty good overall. The iPhone is much lighter in terms of the background, and also both of us, so you can see more of Brandon. I do like his skin complexion on the iPhone over the Galaxy. I think the iPhone also does a good job balancing both of us here, so which is pretty good. But I say the Galaxy makes me look a bit darker, so I kind of will go with the iPhone image. And then zooming in here with the 5X here, the iPhone also does a better job at balancing for both of us. Brandon looks closer to being like almost vampire-ish, dare I say, and I look very one complexion on the Galaxy, while the iPhone is doing a much better job of balancing both of us, which is different from some of the other images we saw earlier. And also the color of my shirt looks more white on the iPhone. Now, we decided to go for the United Colors of Benetton here to give a good representation of what it looks like with different skin tones here. And I'd say both images are similar. The iPhone is definitely the brighter image across the board, and I think also kind of shows with my shirt being more white on the iPhone, but it's still pretty much the same. Now, this is a 5X shot here, and as you can see, Brandon kind of gets paler overall on the Galaxy, similar to the iPhone. iPhone's a touch better. Brandon Lee kind of looks the same, which is good. Harpreet also looks the same. I look just a little bit darker on the Galaxy, but I think, again, good representation from both. The iPhone does have brighter overall look to the image as well. I think here, when it comes to like group images, they've done a really good job in just balancing out as many people as possible, because you have different friends, different skin tones, from different ethnicities, so you want everyone to look represented well. So here is the ultra wide camera, 4K 60. I've got Danny and Nick right here. Some nice color composition for both of them. Let's pan around, and also let's use that new zoom slider on the Galaxy and see how it looks.
Yeah, 3.7. There's a 4.2. There's a couple. And press the zoom.
Look at that zoom at 20x. The iPhone's at 15. The Galaxy is at 20. You can tell the difference, guys. Now, the Galaxy tends to add more contrast to its videos, and you can see with the lighting here, the iPhone looks brighter compared to the Galaxy, and people probably thought we were weird watching three guys cross the street with two phones each in that manner, but I digress. Now, this is a log video shot on the Galaxy. I'm not doing a comparison. I just wanted to show you what log video looks like, and you can easily swap between log and also color corrections on your phone by swiping up and hitting color correction. It will do that for you using AI, which is pretty nice. I like the fact you can do that. Samsung did mention that you can also eventually get the lot and download it and use it yourself, but this is a nice way. That's Alcatraz Island you just saw. And over to the left is the San Francisco, the Bay Bridge. This is pretty cool, the fact that you also got this really seamless zoom, and you can now shoot in log and also quickly edit and change that, which is unheard of. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't switch it up a little bit and add a different phone to this comparison. Now, I'm going to be looking at the Vivo X200 Pro against the Galaxy quickly, because this camera's come out for a while, and you can see what imagery looks like here. Now, this is a 1x photo. The Vivo looks definitely brighter, also more saturated in color. The Galaxy is darker and dimmer, and again, This is off the Fisherman's Wharf, and colors of my jeans are more correct on the Vivo, but the brightness is up there. I do like the skin tone separation. It's highly highlighted on the Vivo. Here is a 5x shot here where the Vivo looks again brighter, also a bit more sharpened, and the background is brighter in comparison to the Galaxy, which has much more of a tamer, muted look to it. And in terms of just what might be pleasing, maybe the Vivo might be pleasing for some. I feel the Galaxy has a bit more balance to it here. Now, we move on to another image 5x here, and this one I kind of like the Vivo more because it just looks really vibrant, and I'm also still in focus, and you can see the skin separation quite in detail. The Galaxy feels like it has that little film phase over you. That's something, of course, you can edit through, but it just it's not as sharp as the Vivo X200 Pro. Now, here's a photo with myself and Nick Gray, and honestly, the Vivo image looks just better. It's more pleasing. The Galaxy is one that, again, still looks good. It's more muted. Something, of course, you can edit through. Same thing with this image here, although I do kind of like the Galaxy more because this feels a little bit sharpened on the Vivo side, especially around my beard. You can see like the grays kind of glistering in the photo. Here's another shot here where I would kind of normally go with the Vivo, but I like the Galaxy because the Galaxy feels like it's just more stated. But you're going to be getting this kind of yin-yang balance depending on the photos. So what do you guys think about the Vivo X200 Pro? Because I think it does a really good job in brightening the scene, but maybe not so much in actually capturing what you're looking for. But again, still some really solid photos overall. Nighttime photos with the Galaxy and the iPhone. So this is quite interesting. The iPhone brightens this whole scene a lot, but I kind of like the image with myself and Parker here, even though I'll say my skin tone is about the same, but I think the image with myself and Parker really stands out and stays, as opposed to the brightness and lens flares you're getting off the iPhone. This other image here with Parker, it's more of the same thing, though I will say the iPhone image with a brighter image kind of is more balanced. The Galaxies pull a lot of the blue light in, so it really doesn't stand out as much. So I would go with the iPhone here with this image. I think kind of cutting off the blue light that's coming in from, behind the camera taker balances out the image much better. So the iPhone takes the cake here. Now, this one is quite interesting because the Galaxy is adding a lot more color to me, but maybe a little bit more saturation. The iPhone is a bit more muted here. Both images are soft. My reflection is a bit sharp on the iPhone over the Galaxy. I think both images are good, but I'm leaning towards the iPhone here for the imagery. I think it's just a bit more balanced, although the color of my jacket is better on the Galaxy than on the iPhone. Now, moving indoors on the Warriors game, you can see here the Galaxy is picking more of the blues. I think both have good detail. I do kind of like the skin coloration on the Galaxy a bit better, but that blue hue is coming in quite a bit. Now, these images you're seeing are 12 megapixel on the Galaxy compared to 24. And we're going to try the different sizes on the lens sizes or megapixel sizes on the Galaxy. But again here, on this one though, the iPhone looks a bit sharper and a bit more detail. And again, a lot of those blues. Now, this is captured at 50 megapixels on the Galaxy, and the Galaxy looks much sharper. There is more detail to this image compared to the iPhone, even though it looks like it was a bit shaky. Here's another one here where, again, I like the Galaxy image. There's more detail, less of that blue, more of a balanced tone, and you can see compared to the more orangey look on the iPhone. Now, this is with JV. I want to take a photo with someone else. You can see the sharpening here comes really high. This is 12 megapixels on the Galaxy, and JV looks super bright compared to more balanced on the iPhone. And when we go to 50 megapixels here, again, more sharpness on me on the Galaxy, and JV looks really pale. Really pale. The iPhone does a better job at the image here. And then finally move to the last image, which is at 200 megapixels, low light. Again, sharpening, He's better in the paleness, but it really doesn't look like him. It looks like he has so much more freckles. And the iPhone image, I think, is the best balanced one here. So this is the image that I had mentioned earlier at the wharf, where it was much darker with the Galaxy, as you can see here. And honestly, all I did was basically swipe up, hit remaster, and boom. Clear difference right there. You can clearly see my face, and it just gives you more detail overall. So zoom in a bit more, you can see the difference there. It's absolutely great, which means this is capturing a lot of imagery and information, and the details are still there. It's just now just a much more presentable image overall, which is quite interesting. So Samsung, that is something to fix. So overall, I do like the images on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I think for my skin tone, it does a really good job. And I also think it does a good job balancing a lot of skin tones out. Now the iPhone 16 Pro Max is really good, and you can see the instances where it won. And sometimes it might be a personal preference for what you're looking for. Now when it comes to the Vivo itself, I think the Vivo is a very strong candidate where some of that overcorrection with the saturation can be fixed with software, but it brings a very brighter image overall. So there's really stiff competition out there. Now, when it comes to the AI features, what I showed you earlier with just being able to remaster, also color correct directly from your device, is really cool. And I like those kind of features, making it easier. Hopefully they make it more accessible and more knowledgeable for people, or maybe using stuff like Gemini to just actually easily do it for you might be a thing. Now, who would I say won this battle? I think for me, it's the Galaxy, especially when it comes down to skin tone. For me, I think it's just the more accurate version of that skin tone coloration when you're looking at it either on the device or on your computer. Speaking of looking at things on the display, I've noticed that all displays are different. There's different color variation, color balance. You've got ProScaler, you've got different things that make images look a certain way on devices as opposed to just what you think they actually look like. So at the end of the day, it's your preference, not necessarily mine, and you've heard mine. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and always enjoy your entertainment.